statement from Coach Bell, and then we'll progress with some questions. Again, when you ask the question, please state your name and your affiliation, and we'll go from there. Coach, open up opening statement.
All right, thanks, Hook. Thanks, Hook. Let's I want to just open up by saying, hey, we've had a great fall camp, great off season, really, going into summer. Really had a great fall camp. Looking forward to playing North Carolina State, a big game for us in state. So I think it's always good for our kids to go see if we can play at that level and how well we can compete against a really good football team. And they do a really good job there. They got a really good football team, and we're going to go up there and just give it our best shot and see what happens.
We can go and open it up for questions.
Hello, can I start, sir?
Yeah, go ahead.
I'm sorry. I just wanted to ask you, I know you got a background with Galen Hall, and I think there was a year with Spurrier as well down there. Who are the influences in your coaching, and what type of, I don't, without divulging too much schematically, what type of things you think fans in Raleigh could expect?
Well, there's probably been three guys that's been really influential in my coaching career, and I played for one of them, or two of them, and then was a GA under Coach Spurrier at the University of Florida. His first year at Florida in 1990, I had missed a year of football with a knee injury. Went back as a graduate assistant there in 1990. That's where I first sort of fell in love with being a coach. I never thought about coaching up until that point. And here I am 2 years out of college and go back as a GA for a year and fell in love with it and went back as probably shouldn't have, but went back and played 10 more years professionally after I got healthy and then got into coaching full time. But Steve Spurrier had a lot of influence on me as an offense coordinator and as a head coach. Lindy Infante, who was a head coach with me at Indianapolis Colts. Lindy's passed away here in the last few years, but Lindy was one of the sharpest coaches I've ever been around. Offensively, I do some things that he brought to the table. And then Don Matthews won, I think, 10 Grey Cups up in Canada. I played up in the CFL for 7 years, and Coach Matthews got a chance to play for him a few times. And just the way he runs his team, the freedom he gives you, the confidence he gives you as a head football coach, I try to take that with me and some of those experiences. As I was playing for 13 years, I played because I love the game. I love to compete. But I think I was also blessed that I had all those experiences. I got to see Don Shula, as a head coach and sort of take some of the qualities that he brought as a head coach, and Pete Carroll and Charlie Pell when I was at Florida before Galen Hall. Then Galen Hall, coached me throughout my career at Florida. So I've had a lot of different. And Don Matthews, like I said, he's won 10 Grey Cups in Canada, who I think is one of the best head coaches I've ever been around as far as being able to play to your potential. And so I've had a lot of opportunities as a player to be around some really good people. And I've tried to take a lot of those experiences and as far as our philosophy on offense, we're going to try to score and score as fast as we can. Some people they talk about time of possession. I don't know if that ever won a game or not, but I know that scoreboard has points on the board. That's what wins. And so we're going to try to put points on the board however we can do that. And we're going to try to play the pace of the game as to where we want it. A lot of times we go fast. Sometimes we don't. We back off. So it'd be just however we want to go in the game. But we are a throw first team that we believe, we're going to balance it out in the run game. We want to eventually be a balanced football team, but we want to throw to set up the run, which is a little bit different than some people. Back in the old days, it was run to football and then throw it off of the play action, off the run game. We want to be so efficient throwing the football that you have to make sure that you take care of that, and then we try to gas you with the run. So it's been good for us. I think one thing I'm proud of is I think in 3 different places we've led the nation in offense at 3 different locations, which I think is very hard to do. The last one being here last year, we led the nation in total offense. So That's been a big part of our program. I think now defensively with the players we have, we've got a more balanced football team, and I think we've got a chance to, to be a really solid football team in the FCS.
And then, sir, you said you sling it around, you want to score a lot of points. Obviously, Gibson over there at State has had a great defense over the last few years. That's a formidable foe. And just your thoughts on what they're doing, the coaches at NC State. I would imagine in State, y'all have had some interactions on the trail as well. Just your thoughts on them.
Well, I think Coach Dorian and them does a great job with their program. You can tell they're well coached. You watch, we got a chance. I've watched every film from them last year, every one of their games, and man, they play extremely hard. They're very disciplined. Like you say, their defense flies around and they bring guys, and that's who we want to be. Our saying is live on the edge. We want to play every snap like it's our last. We want to be leaning forward as football players, playing on our toes, ready to make plays. And I want my coordinators to call the game just like that. I want us to be very aggressive. And you see that a lot with North Carolina State, man, on defense and on offense. They are very aggressive. They take shots. They play really aggressive on defense. So it's going to be a big challenge for us to go up there and, be able to stay in the game.
Coach Jim Buchanan, Silver Herald, WCU 83. Can you discuss the rule changes that are coming into effect this year? And are you going to take advantage of the coach-to-player communication rule?
Well, we want it FCS level. So, we do all ours with signaling, and we do not have the helmet cam or helmet deal. I don't the most FCS, that's FBS that has that this year. So we'll do ours by signals. We go really fast. We line up really fast. You'll see us. So we've got that down sort of to an art as far as how fast we can signal and get plays in. So that won't be a big deal. I think the 2-minute warnings will be something we got to make sure we pay attention to, because that gives you that extra timeout, and make sure you use that wisely. So yeah, there's some things that we've got to make sure that we take care of. But listen, this is going to be a fun game. I've told our kids, let's go enjoy it. Let's just go out there and try to make a chance. Let's see if we can stay in it as long as we can. Let's see how long we can stay in it, how good we can play. Last year I thought when you turned on the film and watched us against Arkansas, SEC team, we're getting to the point now where we can win a lot of battles, man. I think we only gave up 102 rushing yards against them, something like that, just a little over 100 yards rushing. And they made some big plays in the pass game, but we won a lot of battles throughout that game. We just turned it over 5 times to their none. So if we can play smarter football, take care of the football a little bit better, I think we can match up front. We've got so much better in our O-line and D-line, and I think that'll give us a chance to hopefully match up and play some competitive football up there on Thursday night.
How do you feel about your special teams?
You okay?
Well, that's an area that we really think that at our level we should win, and we should be very competitive in, because we've got a lot of athletic kids who can run. We've got a lot of speed on this team. Like I told our team a couple of days ago, we got ready for our introduction to North Carolina State. It's listen, a lot of those players are there because they were blessed with great bodies, right? They're big, they're huge. They look like D1 football players as far as their physique and stuff. Does that make them better just pure football players? I don't know. I think we've got guys who can run just as fast as they can. I think we got guys who can catch and throw and do all those skill things just as good, play defensive back and cover guys. Now they're going to be a little bit bigger, and that's why they're at North Carolina State. So can we make up that gap as far as the size is concerned? Can we play more with our heart and make up that deficit? That's going to be a key to see if we can compete with the size difference. But I feel like we've got a very talented football team, and I think special teams should be a big emphasis for us as far as FCS football, because we've got a lot of good backups that can play football and are real athletic, and our return guys are really athletic. So we should be good in that area.
We'll go to Corey Smith now.
Corey Smith with Private Eye. I wanted to ask you, Coach. Obviously, you lose Cade this past offseason. who's been with you for the last 3 years and obviously your entire life as well, or his entire life as well. But what have you seen from the offense in terms of how they've come together this offseason, and how well do you feel like it's ready to go for Thursday night?
Well, it's funny. For 20 years, I was my own OC head coach, and brought the system sort of back from Lindy and Fonte, like one of the guys I mentioned. Lindy I thought, had one of the best systems I've ever been a part of. And I was in a lot of different systems, 13 different systems, or maybe 11 different systems in my 13 years professionally. So I got to see a lot of different ways to do things. And Lindy was by far, him and then Spurrier with his concepts and the way he runs things. Those are two I really taken as far as offensive football. And with that being said, Lindy was a guy who was very smart, very sharp. And so what we did is for 20 years, I ran the system. It's a pro spread. What I did, I added I had the NFL component to it. But when I got to college football, I added a lot of the spread concepts. And so we call it a pro spread. And what I mean by that, we, get the ball to your best receivers in space, the screens, all the RPOs, all those things that the college level have to offer. We're able to sort of combine those two together. So I think we got the best of both worlds. I think we can run a true spread offense like a lot of people do with a lot of pace to it. But we also can back off and be a pro team that can throw the football down the field professionally. I think that's what's made the difference for us is we have those ability to do both. But I feel good about where we're at offensively. I thought about taking it back over when Cade left, but Ryland had been with us the last 3 years. He played quarterback for me also, and at JU after Cade. And so I knew that he knew what we wanted, what we expected. And I've been really pleased this spring. He's added his little touch to it, but there's always concepts that we believe in. There's things that we believe in. How precise and how detailed and the rhythm of the offense, all those things that we believe in that I got to see. And he's made sure all that stayed in that offense. He's added little things to it. But I think we're going to be just as dynamic with Ryland calling the plays. I've been very pleased with his progress this spring and going into the fall.
And on NC State's offense, obviously there's a lot known about Grayson McCall and some of the other playmakers there, but seeing all those players at NC State for the first time, how difficult has it been to kind of game plan for that with, and several new faces too that haven't played snaps like Noah Rogers and Jonathan Taylor, guys like that?
Well, you see that they were very talented last year, and now they've added, I think, some really good skill players around McCall. And, McCall's probably made the difference. I think that's what's going to be the difference for them is he's a professional quarterback, man. He's a leader. He's a winner everywhere he's been. And I think that's just going to add to what they do offensively. And it's going to be a big challenge for us defensively. That's the one area that we've tried to get better at the last year or so is defensively. We were 70-something in defense last year in the nation. We've got to be a top 20, 25 football team. I think we have the skill. I think we have the guys who are growing up. Now they're not just freshmen anymore like they were 2 or 3 years ago. Now they're juniors and, redshirt sophomores and we got some seniors. So we got some older guys now. And we feel like we've got, 20, 25 guys that can go play for us. And I think nowadays you have to have that on defense. And when you're playing an offense like North Carolina State's got so many skilled players that can do so many things, man, you better keep some fresh bodies out there. And that's what I've been proud of is that we got to the point now where we can go with 20, 25 guys. Our first and second string guys, we can trust to go out there and play and give us some minutes and give us some snaps. So we feel really good about being able to rotate. You'll see us rotate a lot Thursday night. And I think that's going to help us hopefully slow them down a little bit, but they're a very talented football team.
Thank you so much.
Back to Rob McLean.
Yeah, first of all, Rob McLean, Inside Pack Sports. I'm sorry I didn't introduce myself before. You kind of answered some of the question. A lot of times when these smaller teams play the big teams, the ones aren't the problem. It's generally the twos or the threes. That's kind of where the slippage occurs. You said you're confident in the depth of your defense. When did you get to that level where you had that confidence in the depth of your guys in the 2 and 3 deep?
Well, I think the portal, portals help guys in different ways, right? I think some guys benefited from getting guys out of the portal. We sort of benefited because guys were going in the portal And now think about it. Most programs, instead of getting 20 high school kids, they only get maybe 10, and they getting 10 portal guys. So therefore it left, our niche was to go find high school kids, and especially in the state of Florida, where I have a lot of connections in Atlanta, in Georgia, and also really South Carolina, also North Carolina. But those 4 states, man, had a lot of leftovers. When you started thinking about so many kids that had got dropped, I'm talking FBS top talent guys, or FBS had offered them and they dropped them because maybe they went with a portal kid. We went in and tried to get some of those kids the last 2 or 3 years. And I think that's really upgraded our talent level and our roster tremendously. And so we feel like we've got some really talented kids now. They were so young the last couple of years, but we knew there'll be a progress. It'll take a while, and we had to just be patient. But that's what I'm about, man, is developing players, bringing them in. Maybe not get the prettiest looking guy out of high school, but he can flat out play the game of football. And what I mean by that, a lot of guys go recruit a 6'1", 195, 200-pound receiver because he looks good. But if he's stiff and can't drop his hips and runs a 4.6, I don't want him. I want a 4.4 guy who is fluid, can get in and out of routes, can be dynamic with the football. He might be 160 pounds, but we're gonna put weight on him. We're gonna get him in the weight room, and by a year or two, he's gonna be at 180, and we're gonna have a fantastic football player. And I think that's what you see from us. I lost my son Cade, like you say, to Pitt, and he told me the other day, Coach Narduzzi said, our running back, who's Desmond Reed, that we had for 2 years, he went with Cade to Pitt, and 2 receivers. All 3 of them's going to play big parts for Pittsburgh. And he says the running back's his best player. He told Cade that. So we try to get those dynamic guys that we think are FBS type players, and they might not be quite as big as the true FBS kids, but we know they've got the skill level. And we feel like if we keep doing that, then we've got a chance, like you say, to have some depth. And I think now we're starting to see that as we develop these kids.
Sir, the perception of Western Carolina has grown in the last few years, and neutral observers, guys that maybe don't follow you guys vigorously, still from afar can see that it's kind of growing. What's the perception, the vibe you're getting in those recruiting trails in those 4 states you mentioned, and I guess maybe in the regional area?
Well, the big thing helped us was just my connections. And I was at JU, Jacksonville University there in Florida. And then I was at Valdosta State, won the national championship there in 2018 with a bunch of Florida kids and Georgia kids. So coming up here, man, my first year or two, when you go to try to offer a kid from North Carolina, especially, it was like, well, Western, let me see if I can find something different. It's a little bit better. Now, though, the last year or so, we're starting getting a lot of North Carolina, South Carolina kids because they're starting to see, like you say, our program grow, the success of our program. And we're starting to now really balance that thing out between Florida, Georgia, and North Carolina, South Carolina, because kids up here are now saying, hey, man, Western's on the way up. I think one of the great things that our kids take in every day, and we talk about it all the time, is it's amazing how you can be here at this university and do something that's never been done in the history of Western Carolina. That's to win a Southern Conference championship. It's never been done before. I had sort of that experience at the University of Florida in 1984. We won the SEC championship. Never been done before. Florida at that time had never won an SEC championship. And I remember coming back after playing Kentucky on the road, and stadium was almost half full. The streets of Gainesville were packed with people, and I seen 60-year-old men crying. And I told our kids, man, it's amazing that you get the chance, because your parents had you 18 to 22 years ago, to be a part of this program and help us do something that's never been done before. And I think to a man, our guys want to do that before they leave here. And, we've lost a couple guys supportable. I think for the most part, we kept our nucleus here because they truly want to accomplish that. And I think that's something that we strive to do.
I do have a couple more questions, sir. One, when you're coaching now, you've been in this is not your first rodeo now, you've been in it a while. When you teach a young man, when you see a young man and you instruct and mentor them, and then you see it manifest itself into success on the field or in life, please describe that feeling.
Man, let me tell you, I played 13 years professionally, right? And I love to play the game, and I love just the competition of it and competing. And so when I got to 34 or something, 35, I was too old to play, man. My knees were shot, and I knew I needed to retire. But coaching, because of Coach Spurrier and the experience I had with him back in 1990, 10 years earlier, when I retired in 2001, I knew I wanted to get into coaching. And I wanted to get in really because I was a competitor, right? I love the camaraderie. I love being a part of a team. And that's really why it sort of moved me toward the coaching arena. I then, was coaching high school football, won a state championship down in Ocala in 4 years, got the offer to go as the head coach at Jacksonville University, which is a 1AA program. And at that time, I brought in my first recruiting class, and I told the parents, listen, we're going to graduate. I was pulled. I had a lot of energy and I was excited about my first class. And I was telling the parents, man, we don't take care of these kids. And then you see them come in that first day as freshmen, in the fall. And I call them knuckleheads at that time, right? They have no clue where the classrooms are. They don't know how to do anything. And you're thinking, my God, I promised these parents that I was going to graduate these kids. And I don't even know if I can get them to class, And to see that you had some kind of influence on them. I think college football coaching is I think it's not even a job, because we got the wonderful thing that we get to do is we get to have influence on young people. And like I say, to see then those kids 4 or 5 years later become husbands and then fathers and be great positive influences on society, man, that's what got me going after that. From that point on, I started saying, I want to win championships. I want to compete at the highest level. I want to build these guys and give them the best chance as a football player to be as good as they can be and develop them in that area. But the influence I have on them as people, and to see that is something that will last their lifetime. That's sometimes better than a championship. And so that's what really has motivated me ever since those first 4 or 5 years being at Jacksonville, is to know I have some kind of influence on young people and give them a direction maybe to go out and be great in society. I tell recruits all the time, y'all realize this is going to be the best 4 or 5 years of your life, man. Almost all of us, when we get older, we always say, man, I wish I could go back and play, be a college student or athlete. And this is going to be the best time of their life. And but it also is they'll probably don't grow more in that 4 or 5 years than any other time of their life, because they're getting away from home, they're getting away from their family. And for us to have that influence on them during that time, I think is unbelievable, is to be a part of that.
And my final question, sir. Obviously, this is a fun experience for you kids to go to NC State. You've mentioned Arkansas, so it's not the first time, but to go to these big schools, a Thursday night game. The trick is to sort of have this game. You're going to want to compete, but at the same time, you want it to maintain its value throughout the season. Those SoCon games are the meat and potatoes. Those are the big boys. Those are the ones you got to have. So how do you sort of make this experience endure, use it so that you can be a better Southern Conference team?
Well, we want to get better. Listen, I tell people all the time, man, when you play great people, it gets you better. And there's nothing like live reps. And so we're going to embrace that opportunity, man. We don't go up there. We're going to try to prepare, and we have done that so far. Today will be our last day of preparation, really. But we have done a great job of getting ourselves ready to go play mentally. I think we know our game plan. We're our bust and all those things are going down every day as we continue to get ready for the game. And like I told our team, I just want to see us prepare, because that's going to then just make us a better program as we continue to grow this season. Because I think you get better every week. If you're not going to be a great football team at the end of the season. You got to have that attitude, man. I'm going to get better in my preparation. I'm going to get better as a football player in my assignments and my detail of my assignments. All those things need to keep getting better and better as the season grows. And so this is the first one of the year, and we're playing against some great athletes, a great football team, great coaching staff. And let's go out and have fun. Let's be prepared. Let's see how long we can stay in it. Great things. People have accomplished great things. And I've talked to our team about, Buster Douglas and Mike Tyson, App State and Michigan. Those are great upsets happen because they stayed in it. And when they stayed in it and they got close at the end, they were able to make plays to win the football game or to win a boxing match. But they believed in that ability to do that. But the first thing is you got to stay in it early. So we got to play good football, take care of the football, unlike we did at Arkansas last year. Take care of the football sort of like we did 2 years ago against Georgia Tech. We were up 14-7, you know, almost right there in the second quarter. And I felt like I told them the other day, I didn't think we believed that we could continue to play like that. So now we've got to have that belief, but we need to go out there and play early. We need to compete with these guys early, play really good, sound football, and then see what happens.
Thank you so much, sir. Good luck.
All right. Thank you.
What other questions do we have for Coach Bell?
Can you hear me up?
Yeah, I got you.
Coach, the key words that we're hearing from you, and these are good words as a head coach, I know heading out of preseason camp, but we've heard depth, experience, balance, overall healthy, I think you would agree. If you could talk a little bit more about the changes in your coordinator positions and also both sides of the football heading out of preseason camp, how much of a luxury is it to be talking about those positives heading into the first game of the season?
Well, yeah, the injuries, we are banged up a little bit. We've got a couple of D linemen that's not going to be playing for us, but we hope to get them back soon. And our receivers, we still are loaded at receiver, but we got about 2 or 3 receivers that probably won't play with on Thursday, but we'll get them back here the next couple of weeks. But those 2 positions have been sort of the areas that we've got to get some guys healthy. But other than that, like you say, we our motto going into January was our time, and I really believe that. For the first 3 years, we've been trying to catch up to the SoCon. We've been trying to get better and develop kids and get them in our system and let them grow. We went through some tough losses. I mean, we've got our eyes beat out a couple of times in this conference, early on a couple of years ago. So we're starting to grow now. And I think all great football programs, if you want to get to the point where you can compete for a championship, you have to grow as a football program and go through some tough times, go through some great times, get that confidence how to win the big games. I think we've done that the last couple of years. We've been in those arenas, and now it's time to go and like we say, it's our time to go do it. It's our time to take this ownership of this time this year and go do it. We got the talent. We got a veteran quarterback who won Southern Conference Player of the Year. I think you have to have that leader. Our guys believe in him. He's a tough customer, and it is good to be able to say, hey, we got a chance to go do some very special things this year. We need to stay healthy like everybody does. But I really like this football team. I love the enthusiasm, the way they go to work every day. And, we're going to go, man. Every game, I tell people all the time, I may get fired by being too aggressive, but we're going to be aggressive. And I don't care if it's North Carolina State or Campbell the next week. We're going to play the same way. We're not going to try to run out the clock. We're going to try to go score. Shit, we may get beat 70-0, but by God, we don't give it our best shot. And we're going to go see what we can do as a football team. I think that'll only make us better. That'll only make us better. Sometimes I see teams run the ball 3 times, so let's get out of here. No, let's just keep throwing, man. Let's keep running our system. Let's keep blitzing on defense if we have to. If that's what we don't do in the season, let's get better because we're going to get some great people. So I think it's going to be a great night for us. I hope we play and stay in it and give them a competitive match. But I know our guys will come out of it better. I know all I'm looking for is coming out healthy and then see where we're at as we continue to grow the next season or next week here at home against Campbell.
Okay, one follow-up on that. You had recently mentioned, talking about the player of the year, Cole Gonzalez, that when he came into camp this season, you thought that he had improved even more than what you saw last season. What did he do during the offseason? Are you talking about leadership-wise, skill-wise? What did you see from Cole that you saw that improvement?
Well, 2 things: leadership and just his mental part of the game. He sees coverages a lot better. He can get off of things and get through his progressions a lot faster. Man, Cole Lott. Now you got to remember we had to play him as a true freshman because we got our starter hurt against that Georgia Tech game. We were up 14-7. Our starter banged his shoulder bad, and it sort of bothered him the whole year. So Cole had to play in a lot of games as a freshman. He really played by the seat of his pants. It was crazy. He has a great feel for the game, and he could get by with it. But you could tell our system's pretty complex. It's a pros spread system. There's a lot of reads. There's getting in your right protections, making sure you're making the right calls. So he was just playing by the seat of his pants. A freshman year with those 4 games he played, and then last year he got a little better, but he's still up and down. Just sort of playing by the feel of the game. I think now he's so much more solid than seeing coverages, recognizing pre-snap alignments, getting us the right things in the run game, understanding RPOs a lot better. And then his leadership has been really good. He's wanting to be a leader of this football team. And I tell people all the time, you can't be a leader unless you're a tough customer. I don't believe. If you're one of those kids that the team don't believe you're tough, then you can't be a leader. But he can flat sure be a really good leader because he's a tough customer. That's the only reason I really gave him a scholarship. He only threw for 900 something yards in high school. They didn't throw it that much. But what you've seen a kid that competed every snap. He wasn't afraid of contact. He was tough. And you could tell he was a leader of a football team. And that's proven that, he can throw a football and he's a tough customer. And I believe our team knows when he's back there, we can win any game. And I'm proud of the way he's kept progressing as we went through the year. I think a lot, Ryland's come in as our offense coordinator, Ryland Wells, who's from South Carolina. And Ryland is played quarterback for me, and I think he's done a really good job with Cole. And I think that's going to really help. Also, you mentioned our coordinators, Jerry Odom on defense. I think that's what's balanced our football team. You heard the word balance I've used. I think we're a much more balanced football team player-wise because we're older, we're more skilled. We've grown up a little bit more because most of them now are older kids. And I think we're so much more balanced because of our staff. And a lot of that is Jerry Odom at the defense coordinator position. He brings a lot of experience to the table. He understands the answers before the questions even asked. And I think he's going to do a lot of things defensively that will really help us take that defense to the next level.
Thank you, Coach.
All right, thank you.
Any additional questions for Coach Bell?
It's good.
If not, we will conclude the press conference. Appreciate everyone tuning in.